We will go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Kyle. I am the Director of Alumni and Family Engagement. I just want to say thank you all so much for joining us today for this very special community welcome. Today, we are delighted to have the opportunity to connect with our Pitzer families who are based internationally all across the globe. And while we're disappointed that we can't welcome you in person, we are honored to have the chance to see and hear from you virtually. The social welcome will be a tad bit different from what many of you may be used to, in that we are virtual, of course, but also because of the intimate size of the group today, we perhaps have a good opportunity to dive a little bit deeper and have an open discussion after our campus leaders have shared their area updates. We are recording, so this will be distributed later. Toward the end of the call, we will open it up for questions. But before we get started, I thought it would be a good idea to go around the Zoom space and briefly introduce ourselves. And we can start with our panelists and then over to our families and students who are on the call. And if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, and where you're calling from, that would be great. But before we get things started, I would like to start things by welcoming Pitzer College President Melvin Oliver to the call. And President Oliver, if you would like to kick things off and also introduce your very special guests with you.
Thank you, Brandon. Welcome all. So nice to be with you on this virtual call. I want to introduce my wife, Suzanne Oliver, and we are in our home in Claremont, and we are so happy to be here today.
Alan?
Guys, I was waiting for Suzanne to say something there.
Oh, it must be the time of day. Forgive me, my husband was just making such a nice introduction, and I am so happy to be with you. We typically have our evening in our home here in Pitzer for our international families, and it is absolutely a joy. And we're in our dining room now with our Carl Benjamin art behind us, which when you are here on campus and can be back with us, you're going to see a lot of that art. But it's very bittersweet because I'm a hug person, and it's been hard not to have our students and not to have our families, and it's been, I'm going to well up in a minute. It's been a shift for us. Melvin, of course, is kept quite busy, as you'll hear and you know on the college, but my focus has been students and their families. So I have to get used to the virtual hug that we'll all share. And thank you for joining us.
My name is Alan Omoto. I'm pretending I'm on the Pitzer campus right now. That's McConnell behind me, sitting on the mounds here. But I haven't had the pleasure to meet all of you because I am just starting my second year at Pitzer at this point. So I'm still relatively new to Pitzer. But my job is I'm Dean of Faculty and Vice President for Academic Affairs. And in that role, I work with our faculty on the faculty development and curricular issues, and also work with students on their academic program and progress. Registrar, study abroad, those offices are part of who work with me and report to me. And then we work with students on some of their academic planning and disciplinary issues on the negative side of things. So my portfolio is all of the academic activity at Pitzer College, and ranging from support and then faculty. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Alan. Mike?
Well, good day, everyone. My name is Mike Sagawa. I'm the Vice President for Student Affairs, and we'll talk about what we cover, but I cover everything that Alan doesn't. So that's the short description of what I do.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, welcome, Mike. So I'd like to turn it over to some of our families who are on the call. It would be great if, again, if you can, if you have the ability to turn on some of your cameras so we can see and hear from you, but we will kick it off with Roseanne. Would you like to introduce yourself, your family, and student? I think you're on mute.
Oh, I'm Roseanne Price, and we're in Melbourne.
I'm Sonia.
Sorry,
Yeah.
she's a student.
Yeah.
We're in Australia, so we're actually in deferred status right now because we can't leave Australia.
Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we have a few more. Kelly, would you like to?
Hi, my name is Kelly. I am Kyungso, but I go by Kelly. I'm joining as a sophomore, as a new resource student, and I'm in Korea. So time difference is, yeah, quite big.
Oh, thank you for joining.
And I think my mom's joining soon. She's
Oh.
just being held up at the moment. Yep.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for joining us. A few others joining. Claire, Claire, can you hear us?
Hi, did I unmute successfully?
Yes, you did.
Oh, great. Okay, I'm new to all this technology. Hi, I'm Claire. I'm a parent and alumni, and I'm in Vancouver, BC, Canada. And thank you for all the smoke you sent up our way last week. It was terrible. We couldn't see anything.
Oh, sorry about that.
Just joking, but all's clear now.
Thank you for joining us. Let's see, I think we have a few others. Mikawa's family?
Hey, my name is Ina. We're calling from Singapore.
We can barely hear you. Get a little-
Hi, my name is Ina. We're currently in Singapore, and we're really happy to be joining this call.
Really happy to have you. Goodness.
It's pretty safe in Singapore. Looking forward to being there in person. We were very impressed on our campus visit last summer, but hope everybody's safe there.
Thank you again for joining us. Goodness, I think we have, did we get everyone? Did we catch everyone? We're missing a few. I want to make sure we do introductions.
Yeah, Rico.
Rico, there we go.
Yes, thank you for introduction. Good morning from Japan. My parents don't understand English, so I am here instead of them. Thank you for all, and it's very happy to meet you all. Thank you so much.
I'm very happy to have you with us, and please extend our well wishes to your parents as well.
Nice.
Wonderful. So I think we perhaps covered everyone on the call so far, so I think we can get started again. Thank you everyone for joining us. And I will kick it over to President Oliver.
Thank you so much, Brandon. First of all, let me say welcome to all of our international families. It's always a treat to meet you and to welcome you to Pitzer College and the Pitzer College family. You know, once you're a member of the Pitzer College family, you're a member forever. We have many parents who love to come to Parents Weekend. And when their student is a senior, they're kind of sad. They say, you know, we won't be able to come again. And we always say, no, you can come even after your student has graduated, because once you're a member of the Pitzer family, you're welcome forever. So we look forward to having you with us forever as a member of the Pitzer family. It's kind of my pleasure to kind of give you a sense of what's happening on campus in terms of our sense of community in this very, very difficult and unprecedented time. The pandemic has taken us all for a loop, so to speak. And nowhere is that felt more keenly than in America's higher education community. We've had to deal with sending our students home in the spring last year and making tough decisions about whether or not to bring students on campus in the fall. I want to say that our community has come together to make those decisions in ways that are consistent with our values, and that we have tried to prioritize the health and safety of our community. We put together a COVID task force of faculty, staff, and students to help us make the decision on whether or not to come back in the fall. And we made that decision a couple weeks before the county, LA County Health Department indicated that there would be no colleges returning in the fall. We made that decision on the basis, once again, of the health and safety risk. And I think we feel very comforted that we did make that decision. As you notice, at many colleges and universities, there have been tremendous problems. Our faculty have responded and pivoted from preparing to have students on campus to having a very innovative online programming. And Dean Omoto will tell you more about that, but they have done a tremendous job, and they have not only mastered the pedagogy behind online education, but they've introduced new and different courses reflecting some of the significant social issues of our day. I have helped to lead a president's initiative on racial justice, in which there are courses and parts of courses that are dealing with that. We have the election in the US coming up, and we have programming around that. We have special programming on the social effects of the pandemic. So it's a very innovative program. We have also had to deal with the fact that we have budget deficits because of the pandemic. And I'm very proud of our community, the way we've come together to make decisions through our budget implementation committee, once again, made up of faculty, staff, and students, that made some decisions about how to deal with those cuts. And those decisions were based on us making sure that we preserve the economic sufficiency of the most vulnerable members of our community. So we made budget cuts, salary cuts for those over $100,000. We made a reduction in the retirement contributions across the campus community. And we chose not to furlough or lay off any of our workers that are at the most vulnerable positions in our community. That's one of those things that reflects the values of Pitzer, and we're very proud of that, and we feel very good that we were able to do that. One of the things we have to do is make a decision about what to do in the spring semester, and we are trying to learn from the experiences of other schools that have opened, what has worked, what has not worked, and of course we have to abide by LA County Health in terms of their decision as to whether or not we can open, but we are going to try our best to open given the circumstances. And so that gives you a good update of where we're at. And I'm going to turn it over now to Dean Alan Omoto, who will tell you a little bit more about the academic curriculum.
Thanks, President Oliver. I'm just going to pick up a few of the threads that President Oliver mentioned in terms of the academic program, and kind of just take you back a little bit to March when we left campus, which was a very abrupt change for all of us, and for some of you who were students here then, sending students home, bringing students back from study abroad sites, that it was a lot of disruption in that, at the same time trying to make sure we could finish out all of the classes and move everything to remote learning. And that was difficult for people because of the distraction and disruption. And we did our best to finish that out. And I think that we were largely successful with finishing classes, but with certainly a lot of bumps in the road and maybe not as ideally situated and taught as we might like. Into the summer planning, then our faculty, as President Oliver mentioned, have been really engaged in thinking about their teaching and working on how to make their teaching most effective in a remote or online environment. And so we engaged our own IT or instructional technology group. We engaged the Consortial Center for Teaching and Learning in doing some workshops and training. We supported our faculty to take part in webinars through their own professional associations around teaching in their discipline. We hired a instructional design consultant to work with our faculty individually and field groups. And the faculty worked a lot with each other and held lots of co-learning sessions to talk about what they were going to do in their classes, how they were going to change their approach to teaching in this fall semester, and what they had been learning about what would work better or should work better for their courses. And all that work took place over the summer when normally our faculty would be focusing more on their scholarly work or taking a vacation or what have you. So our faculty have been really engaged in that work and came back with, as President Oliver said, new classes, changes to their classes in the pedagogical approach they've taken with online education, but also with content changes. And so yes, we have courses that now have some components related to pandemics. And thanks to President Oliver's Racial Justice Initiative, courses that have had course enhancements or modules related to race relations and policing and racial violence issues embedded in the courses. We have in our community engagement area, that group really dove headfirst into this and have explored and now been able to roll out in courses lots of different ways to do community engagement work. I've made this point in other forums, but all of our community engagement work up to this time has been really centered around Pitzer and Claremont, and that what we have been able to do this semester is now leverage online technologies. So a lot of the community engagement work that our students are doing through their courses and through other placements is being done in their own local environments. And so our community engagement work is still true to the Pitzer way in terms of working with communities, but now we're making new friends and new partnerships, and that students are doing work in a way that's even more meaningful for them because it's taking place in their home environments. So our curriculum has been changed and shifted as a result in terms of the pandemic. And what I would say, I think it's been come back around to or more focused on what are Pitzer core values and mission in terms of the concern about community engagement, social responsibility, and current circumstances, focusing on that, and social justice issues have been heightened. So across how we're teaching as well as what we're teaching, I think that our faculty have really risen to the occasion and are now rolling out this fall semester with those courses in a way that I think are benefiting the whole community in new and different ways. The other thing I will say that I hope that you have also felt the support of the Pitzer community. The thing that I have been proud of for our faculty is over the summer, not just focusing on their teaching to come, but they did a lot of work reaching out to students and advisees, holding panel discussions about how they were teaching, what they were thinking about for the summer. We had some academic programming as well for the summer to keep people engaged and thinking about Pitzer College and the activities and programs we have here. So I hope that you felt that and that if you are a currently enrolled student, you are still feeling that, because our faculty, I think, have been doing a lot of extra outreach to students, extra office hours to try to make sure to bridge that gap and be available to students for informal advising, but also formal academic advising. And I think that it speaks to also what it means to be a community of scholars and educators, and that really trying to look out for everyone in the community to make sure that students can progress in their academic programs and feel supported and successful in that work. So that's kind of what we've been up to on the academic side. And I'm going to turn things over to Mike to talk about some of the student support and co-curricular work that's been going on.
Thanks, Alan. A couple of thoughts before I share some of the content that I wanted to provide to you. And that is, one is, it is so wonderful to see your faces and hear your voices, because I'm very tired of looking at President Oliver and at Alan day in and day out in my Zoom meetings. So having new faces and new voices is absolutely welcome. So thank you for at least breaking the tedium for me and for them too. And then the second thing I would offer to you is that I've spent most of my career doing campus housing, frankly. And I will tell you that in the 40 years that I've been doing this work, our dormitories have never been more popular as far as people saying how much they pine to be in a residence hall. They want to be on campus, living in these small little dorm rooms that all of a sudden, these are the most popular housing options in our country. And so we look forward to welcoming our students back to when we can have you back in our residence halls and on campus. But it does entertain me about how attractive this housing now is. These small rooms with a lot of people, sometimes many people sharing a bathroom, have become really, really popular and attractive to our students and our communities. So I love it as a housing person. So, you know, Alan described to you a lot of the highlights from our academic program. And as I introduced myself, I did say rather flippantly, but it's true that it's the other non-academic programs that my staff and I work with in our student affairs world, in our student life world. So I want to just highlight a few things for you, and all of this information, like so much of what we do now, is online, is on our website. And so one, you don't need to take notes, and two, it's very easy for you to access it. And you know, I'll start by saying, especially for our students, even though we are now online, we are still working very, very hard to create community and relationships and provide social opportunity and other kind of opportunities that complement your academic learning. And that is based upon what we're calling the class cohorts. And so we gather the first year class and the sophomores and the juniors and the seniors periodically during this time for class-based activities. Sometimes it's as larger groups, and sometimes it's small groups, especially for our first year students based upon your first year seminars. So if you haven't yet, I encourage you to take advantage of those opportunities. They're most often led by peers. When you're living on campus, you have RAs, right? Resident advisors, resident assistants. And also during your orientation, you met orientation advisors. Those are some of our most important peer leaders. And they're still here, and they are now online, working with our students in the online world to, again, develop relationships and develop community and to complement your academic learning. So that is still readily available to you. You know, I also highlight one of the resources and one of the programs that we started last year, well before the pandemic, and never imagined how important it would become to us. And that is what we call our Strive to Thrive program. It is a health and well-being program. The resources are all online, and it is a wealth of information as far as how a person can stay healthy, both proactively and then when the need arises and you're having struggles, the resources available to help you work through those struggles. We would typically deliver not only the online material, but a lot of in-person programs in support of this. But, you know, for the moment, we're left to the online resources. And so it's made possible by a generous gift from a Pitzer family last year. And so I would really encourage you to take a look at our Strive to Thrive page. It's a wonderful wealth of resources for us. You know, we have a lot of student support resources here at Pitzer, at the Claremont colleges. Some of the ones that are most important to us include our student health services, and they are still available. Again, for most of our students, it is online delivery, telehealth kinds of things, but they are available to you. And also our Monsoor Counseling and Psychological Services, our counseling center. Those services are still available to our students. They are doing what they call teletherapy, both for individuals and groups, but they're also doing a lot of just educational skill building kinds of things right now online. And so all of our Claremont Consortium services are available to you, but I would highlight those two especially during these really weird and tough times for folks, that those are two services that we're finding are very useful, especially to our students right now, even in an online world. I also would highlight career services. It's never too early to avail yourself of the services in career services. Brad Tharp and his staff are totally online and constantly there doing programs and meeting with students and providing their best advice and resources. So I would encourage folks during this time, avail yourself of our career services resources. Those are really terrific folks providing some really valuable services to you. The last thing I'd highlight for you, again, all of this is on the website, is we have a wonderful Dean of Students. Her name is Sandy Vasquez, and Sandy does a regular DOS, Dean of Students newsletter. And those newsletters are also online. And so that's a really wonderful summary of what's going on campus, what are the resources available to you, how do you access those? And so I'd encourage you, go to the DOS website, look at the newsletters that Sandy has put together. There's terrific update information in there that's a really convenient and quick way to get caught up on how we are trying to support you during this weirdest of times. I have told President Oliver on a number of occasions that even after the many years of work that I've done in this field, he has finally found something that I had no experience with. But I wasn't alone. No one else really had experience with this either. And so we are all learning together as we navigate through this, and look forward to the not too distant future time where we will welcome you all back physically to Claremont and to the Pitzer campus. Brandon, all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I think everyone seconds that. We can't wait to have the opportunity to meet with all of you in person. Thank you so much, Mike and Alan, and of course, President Oliver. So now I'm just going to turn it around to our families and students who are on the call. This is really an opportunity for you to ask any of the questions that you have, or request sort of additional context or additional information from what you've already heard. But I want to provide an opportunity to you, or for your parents or yourself as a student to ask any questions that you're thinking of. So. Any questions? I promise it's a safe space.
I'm having some problems with my video. It's going on and off, but I can ask you a question if I may.
Yes, of course.
What will you do if nothing's changed next semester?
We will have a semester once again that's online. But we're hopeful that we may be able to provide some level of in-person education, but at this time we can't make a commitment. The County of Los Angeles has indicated that they will not make their decision at the earliest before after the Thanksgiving holiday. So somewhere around December 1st, we expect to hear something from the LA County Department of Health. Until then, we will be preparing for the possibility of some form of in-person education.
Of course, a bit more difficult for international students. I think this is the only country in the world where we actually are not allowed to leave. We have to apply for permission. So
we understand that across the countries, there are various places where it takes a certain amount of time to get yourself out. We understand that, and we'll make every effort to make a timely decision.
And I will add to that too, that I think that we recognize that even if we come back with students on campus, there will be people who will not be able to be here for different reasons. And so that we will probably continue to have some online offerings for some of the students to be able to make progress with their academic programs in that context.
I'm going to say some of our students who have been with us and who really want to come back, they want to come back for the pasta bowl in our dining services.
I know that's why I want to come back.
Yeah.
We did like your dining halls. We love the dining halls.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think too much of it's in your control. I think that, the election is not until I think it's outside of all of our control.
That is one of the frustrations. We are people who we're used to being somewhat in control, and we're used to regularity, and we have none of that.
I think it depends on the president. The president it determines on what happens to the corona.
I would also say, though, that in making that decision, just as we did for this fall, it reinforced the most important value that we have, and that is the protection of the health and safety of our community. And that includes our students, faculty, and staff, but also our local Claremont neighbors. And so if we had our druthers, of course we would be here. But the conditions are going to just have to be right for us to say with confidence that we can bring some of our students back in a healthy and relatively safe way at that point in time. And so as much planning as we all did for students to be back in the fall, we very much understood why back in July we decided we just could not do it.
Are you looking at some of the few colleges that have been successful so far in bringing students back, like Vassar, my alma mater? I know they've been.
Yes.
It remains to be seen if they continue successful, but.
Right. We're looking at colleges that are similar to us in size, and we're trying to understand what they're doing, what is working, what is not working, so we can design the kind of experience that will be as successful as possible if we have in-person education.
But I guess the LA County mandates that, doesn't it?
It trumps, unfortunately, trumps everything.
Interesting choice of words.
Hi, can you hear me? This
Yes.
is Ted Yukawa. Yeah. I have a really noisy cat in the background, so sorry.
Well, we're glad to hear that. We have a really noisy dog. So.
Our standard poodle is right down here, and he's insistent that it's dinner time. Begging forgiveness.
I just want to say, we're looking forward to breakfast. Thanks for accommodating the APAC and other international family friendly time zones. A question not related to COVID, but I was just talking to my daughter, and she's taking a gap year, deferring her freshman year, very unfortunately, with regrets. But she's looking into trying to get some experience and taking on different jobs. I was just wondering if maybe Mike or somebody knew about the career services, if they offer consultation for some part-time jobs or internships that can be done remotely online. If not, we can reach out to the career services team too.
Okay, so this is going to be the advantage of you being in this Zoom meeting is that typically we actually are, most of our services are not available to students who are not yet students. So a brand new student in a deferred status is not yet a student. And so we've made that decision that we're going to have to stay consistent with that. However, I'm going to say because you all got on this call, I'm going to ask my career services director to reach out to you and work with you all in terms of what would be some of the thoughts and opportunities for this year. So if you would, easiest way to do that, Brandon, maybe is to send email or something to me or to the family, and then I'll get Brad connected with them. But yeah, Brandon, if you could kind of be the conduit for making that connection, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow,
So
that's great.
you just have to promise not to tell anybody that I did that.
Exactly, there's the key.
Yep, lips are locked. Well, thank you so much for that offer. Whatever's possible, I think trying to make the most out of this very strange year. And we'll take any advice, and thank you for the gesture.
Yeah, it's, we have a number of our new students who decided to take the deferral and the gap year. So understandable during this time, but we also appreciate the fact that most of the students want to try and figure out, what can I constructively do with this time that I now have? It's unexpected to have this time, but what might I be able to do? And so, yeah, in this case, we'll be happy to have a conversation and see what suggestions we might be able to provide.
Bailey said hello, by the way.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Thank you for having this meeting today. The daughter of Mr. Yukawa, I'm also taking a gap year, and I would like to ask, roughly how many students are class of 2024 are taking gap year, especially in international students. Could you answer that, please?
So I will say I can answer in terms of how many people have taken a deferral, and I don't know if they are purely, they're in terms of gap year. So of our students, we have about 100 students who have deferred this semester. Of those, roughly 102, I think, 33 of them have deferred just for one semester. So they at least deferred planning to enroll in spring semester, and the other 67 of them have deferred for the entire year. So if you're in that gap year, you would be one of those 67 students.
Wow, that's way more than I expected. Okay, thank you so much.
Alan, that does mean, though, that about 2/3 of our new students are with us this semester.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, the other side of it is the ones that did enroll are the other roughly 220 more enrolled.
Any other questions? Mike might have another special offer if anyone. Do I see? Okay.
Actually, hey, Brandon, I'm going to put you and Neil on the spot here, in terms of giving stuff away. And I think because Roseanne asked the first question, you need to send her some Pitzer swag to Australia.
Absolutely.
Oh, we can make that happen.
We can do that. Yeah, that's an easy one. That's what we can do.
Roseanne, you're still muted.
Sorry, I've got a loose cable somewhere. Things are going in and out all the time, unbeknownst to me. What's Pitzer swag?
Well, you'll just have to wait with bated breath to see what comes in the mail.
A nice face mask, something like that.
Oh, is that swag?
Yeah, that kind of swag.
Well, knowing that Pam is all about Pitzer swag, I think we'll be able to come up with some things for our guest today.
Right.
Thank you for giving us the time. I appreciate that. It's a shame. I was looking forward to this for my daughter for so many years. It's just timing is a bit of a shame.
Yes.
Delayed.
That's something that we never expected that would happen, and it's difficult to think about the life of our kids right now, where their expectations and what we normally think of as their college years has been interrupted in such a unexpected way.
Yep.
Well, and I was going to say for our incoming students, it also, for most of them, meant that their high school senior year was severely disrupted. And so, it's a series of events for our incoming class that we're well aware of. And, when we do welcome them back, we'll factor that into how do we do that welcome, and how do we make this return to Pitzer a really special one for them.
And I think in the meantime, one of the things that my office is working on is trying to make sure that we can stay as connected as possible throughout this time. And one of the things that we've been launching since I think April, I believe, is Pitzer at Home. And Pitzer at Home is a platform that allows us to experience a lot of what we would have been able to, but obviously just in a virtual setting. So we have academic and experiential opportunities via webinar, and these are directly for our alumni and family communities. And so you'll see a lot of sort of promotion about webinars with faculty and alumni and experts in their field. And that's really just to keep our entire community intact and keep you engaged because you are a part of our community as parents and as families and of course as students. I think Brooke just put a link directly to where some of those webinars are, but there's a variety of resources that are available to you as members of our community. So I just wanted to make sure that we all knew that. Were there any other questions before I kick it over to President Oliver for closing remarks?
Well, Brandon, I just wanted to, oh, I'm sorry, Kelly, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, it's not really a question. I just wanted to say, since I'm like enrolled right now and experiencing this virtual semester, I just really wanted to say like I appreciate all the effort that the school is making, and I can really feel it all the way here in Korea. And it's difficult for sure, like especially joining an entire new community from like halfway around the world. But like I can definitely say that everyone's working their best to make this community thing happen, and I have been able to feel like touched and connected on at least some sort of level. And I think that's like on you guys and the faculty and the staff and everyone involved in all these programs that I get like tons of emails and oh, this is happening, that's happening, and that's also something that I'll have to work on. But yeah, so I just wanted to thank you guys for all of that.
Yeah, we've actually gotten the feedback that we may be sending too many emails sometimes.
A little bit, but like what can you do? That's the best sort of communication that we're left with now. So it's understandable.
So I'm glad to hear that. I'm just going to also just to add to what Brandon was saying. There is the Pitzer at Home, but we also have a lot of other activities that, of course, are open to the public. So our first event in the Racial Justice Initiative was an open panel, and I hope that if you're getting those emails that you keep your eyes on those and invite your friends and family to attend those events too. We have another panel coming up on October 15th, in fact, as part of that series.
And I just wanted to comment on to the parents. Obviously, we're here to support and provide a great experience for your students. But we want, as President Oliver mentioned at the top of the program, we want you to know that you are a part of this community. And Brandon and the Alumni and Family Relations team and all of us in the Advancement Office, we're here to help make sure that you have a good experience as well during this journey with Pitzer College. So feel free to reach out to us. We're here as a resource for you. All of us on this call are here committed to making sure that your student has a great experience, but we want to make sure yours is excellent as well.
Thank you.
Let me follow up on that and say it's been great to experience the virtual conversation with you. Suzanne had to leave to take care of the dog. Sorry about the barking. But one of the things that we do look forward to is when we can have this in person, where you can come with your student, share at Pitzer College, to come to the president's residence, where we can reach out, touch you, and also indicate to you that we recognize that you're giving us your greatest gift, your student. And we as Pitzer College, we as my wife and I, take that trust very seriously. And you should know that while they are here, for those 4 years, we will be there for them and with you during this whole journey. And we look forward to having that journey with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks. Great to be with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Look forward to seeing you on campus.
On campus.
Campus.